for me. And when I say home, I literally mean home. First, I want to share that where is she at? The lady, the young man's mom, Tracy. Tracy and I were working together when something took place in my life, and at that time, we couldn't see today. So it's a blessing to see that she's actually fighting for the cause. And when I was sharing with them back then what I was going through, I don't know if that played a part in her actually wanting to do it, but I thank God because she's a witness to what I'm going to tell you today. I was actually exposed to HIV in 2001. This story is for the wives that think because you're married and you don't cheat and you've been with the same husband for 15 years, you still have to get tested. Now this is why I say that. I married a man that had spent time in prison. Now, he says he wasn't gay, but how many of you know when you're in prison, you do some things, what they call desperate times call for desperate measures. But I didn't think about that at the time. So I had never been tested myself. So one day, I got some mail in the mailbox, and his mother lived right next door to me. The mail came to my house instead of her house. And it was from this place called Help for Families or something like that. It was actually a letter from his social worker. And she was trying to set up an appointment for him so that he can start getting his medication. Now, when I opened the mail and I asked him about it, he said it was a dentist appointment. Well, come to find out, when I called, the lady said she was a social worker. Now, when I questioned her to a social worker for what, she said, well, it's confidential. And I said, well, you sent a letter to my husband, so that makes it unconfidential because I'm his wife. She said, no, ma'am, it's still confidential. She said, I can't share with you until he gives me permission to share with you. Now, by that time, I had steam shooting out of my ears. I said, wait a minute. So when he got home from work and I questioned him about it, his answer was, well, I'll just call her and tell her she can talk to you. I said, no. I said, we're going to go talk to her together. So me, him, and his mom went the following day. And when we got there, he had his head hung down, and the social worker said, well, do you want me to tell him? And he said, yeah, you can tell him. Well, this was 2001. He had been diagnosed since 1995 and was fully aware that he was HIV positive when he married me. Now, when I asked the question, I said, why would you do that? He said, because you were my only chance for true happiness. See, at that time, I was still in ministry. I was still doing what God called me to do. I would pray with him. I would pray with his family. So I don't know if he thought maybe I was going to pray it away. I don't know what he was thinking. But I knew one thing, that he thought that it was going to be till death do us part. But how many of you know that when you get in the perfect will of God, and when you